All yards are different. Whether it's the size or grass type, your yard is unique. Finding the right products is essential to turn it into the yard of your dreams. To keep the lawn clear of pesky weeds, Scott's has the right formula for your grass type. Regular feedings help promote lawn growth and greening. Fill in thin areas or bare spots with Scott's seeding solutions. Now that you have the right product, you need the right tools. Whether your lawn is big or small, make sure you have the right spreader. With the right products and tools, maintaining a beautiful lawn can be simple, giving you more time to get out and enjoy.
Why is it important to feed at all? Like any plant, grass needs nutrition in order to thrive, turn thick and green, and to withstand the traffic that we put on it throughout the season. So a big question is, how often should I feed and when? So if you want a normal, nice quality lawn, you're going to want to feed twice per year, once in the spring and once in the fall. If you want an awesome lawn, best in the block, or if you've got a lot of activity, a lot of kids and pets playing on it, let's feed 4 times per year, twice in the spring and twice in the fall. And in the spring, I usually focus around Easter, Memorial Day in the fall, Labor Day, and before Halloween. So not only does feeding help crowd out weeds, that dense, thick lawn can withstand insect pressure as well. So if we've got a lot of grubs eating our roots, other insect damage, the thicker the turf, the better it can withstand those types of pests. Let's take a look at why feeding is so important. So before we talked about feeding is important because it helps thicken that turf, turn it green, and help crowd out weeds. What's going on right here is an unfed lawn. So you've got some grass interspersed through here, and we haven't been feeding this for a while, and what do you see? Tons of weeds, all different types of weeds here, and a lot of moss as well. That's going to be hard to push out, so it makes it tougher and tougher for our lawn here to establish. We're going to have to spray this out to kill the weeds, and then the most important part then is to start feeding this so that the grass can spread, so that the density can improve, and we'll keep those weeds out here. So this again is what happens when we don't feed our lawn. Over time, it thins out, the weeds come in, and we're never going to have a high quality lawn, whether we water it or not. The opposite of that is proper feeding. So if we feed our lawn twice in the spring, twice in the fall, we're going to have some amazing results. Thicker turf, greener turf, also those deep roots can withstand more insect pressure, can withstand disease as it comes in from time to time. But overall, the durability is fantastic here. You're going to have an awesome looking lawn here, dense turf, great to play on, recovers from stress, and helps crowd out those weeds that are the #1 problem for most homeowners here. And the benefit of feeding is that it creates a healthy lawn, and a healthy lawn can take care of itself.
Orchids are some of the most beautiful flowers in the world, and they are sometimes considered a little difficult to grow. But with a little knowledge, they can actually be pretty easy to care for. The first step in growing orchids successfully is to start with a strong, healthy plant. Make sure that the leaves are firm and green and that the blossoms are not damaged. When you get the plant home, there are 4 important factors that will keep your orchid blooming for a long time: feeding, maintaining moisture level, light exposure, and temperature. Orchids flower best and are at their healthiest when fed on a regular basis. Miracle-Gro offers several options: orchid mist, water-soluble plant food, and plant food spikes. Orchid mist is great because you use it weekly in addition to regular watering, spritzing around the leaves and roots, adding moisture and nutrition without mixing. To use the water-soluble, mix a 1/4 teaspoon per gallon in your watering can and then apply every 2 weeks. Orchid spikes are a slow-release method that you add to the pot every 2 months during the active growth period. It's also important to water your orchid regularly, but without overwatering. The best way is to take it to the sink and run the faucet gently over the roots. Give it a nice soak and let the excess drain off. Do this about once a week. Direct sunlight is not an orchid's best friend. It can cause sunburn that discolors the leaves. A good rule for orchids is that the larger the leaf, the less light it needs. Place your orchid in an east or shaded west-facing window, keeping it about 3 feet from the glass. Orchids are tropical plants that need to have a warm environment to thrive. To provide an ideal environment for that orchid, place it in a room where the temperature stays between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. If you keep your orchid in a warm spot, you may need to water it a little more often. Never place that orchid near a heat or air conditioning vent, as it will dry out too quickly. When blooms have dropped and the stem starts to dry, it's a good time to repot your orchid. They need a special, coarse mix to allow water and air to move freely around the roots. Even orchids that are not blooming are still growing, and these leaves are very pretty as houseplants. They continue to exchange carbon dioxide for oxygen, and they make a fun, unique indoor plant.
You're looking at Down to Earth's acid mix, 436, for all of your acid soil-loving plants. Down to Earth's acid mix is specially formulated for plants that prefer a low pH or acidic soil. These are plants like blueberries, raspberries, rhododendrons, azaleas, hydrangeas, potatoes, and many coniferous trees and shrubs. That's because the backbone of this fertilizer is cottonseed meal, a material that has traditionally been used for plants that prefer an acidic soil. Down to Earth's acid mix is derived from cottonseed meal, fish bone meal, langbonite, rock phosphate, kelp meal, and humates. And it's available in a 1 pound, 6 pound, 25 pound, and 50 pound package. For established berries, apply 1 cup per plant in the early spring, then again when blooms form, and finally once more as fall begins. If you're adding acid mix to plants that already have an acidic mulch like rotted sawdust or pine needles, make sure that you pull that mulch back before adding the fertilizer, and then lightly scratch the fertilizer in before pushing the mulch back over to protect the plant's roots.